Hello and welcome to the Audi FIS Ski World Cup, coming to you live from Alpine Zauchensee in the Salzburg region of Austria. It's downhill 4 of 9 on the Ladies World Cup Tour. Well, hello and welcome to a very snowy Alpine Zauchensee for the latest round of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup, and it's women's downhill 4 of 9, World Cup race 18 of 37, so we're just about at the halfway point of the 2026 season. And snow has been falling just about everywhere across Europe right now and the Central Alp regions. And therefore, we've had a few issues over the past few days here in Zauchensee. We have not been able to practice from the top of the racetrack. We had a practice session the day before yesterday, starting at the Super G start, or the hot air jump, which means that is where the race has to start today. This competition will not be starting from the top of the mountain, but a lowered starting gate, and that could be one of the key characteristics to today's race. Lots of stories to talk about, lots of action to follow, and I'm delighted to welcome to the commentary box a ski racer that has placed 11th and 15th in her career before, a former World Cup winner, the Canadian racer, of course, Britt Yannick. Britt, welcome to the commentary box. Welcome to Zauchensee. Today will be a very interesting race, primarily due to the weather conditions.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to see that we're ready to race here in Zauchensee. But as you said, it's a different track. It's a lowered start. It's not what they would have expected at the start of the week. But at least we're getting ready for race time, and I've started from this lowered start myself at a downhill. It makes it a different race. It's quite a sprint from top to bottom.
Yeah, sprint is the name of the game, and a lot of people are saying that it will suit the gliders rather than those technical-based skiers. Now, Britt, let's go back in time just for a little bit of fun before this race. You were in the top flight in this race, back in 2009 and 2011. Lindsey Vonn won this race 15 years ago, and in that same race, you skied into 15th position. How does that make you feel today?
Doesn't make me feel younger. It's amazing. When you looked back, I looked back at the results and where I was, and that Lindsey won the race, and she's back here now, and she's been on the podium in all 3 downhills and has won this season already. To get yourself back into that mindset, to be at the top of your game once again, is truly spectacular.
Yeah, she's just amazing. We've had 3 downhills so far this season, 3 different winners, but as Britt has just pointed out, Lindsey Vonn has been on the podium in all 3 of those races, which puts the American superstar at the top of the downhill standings. Now, we watch a few very carefully here, including Sofia Goggia, who won this downhill last year. Well, the Kalberloch downhill track is very different today. The panorama curve could be one of the most technical sections, but it will be short, it will be fast, and the freshly fallen snow will make it slow as well. It's cold, -6 to -3, top to bottom of the racetrack, and there are a couple of steep sections with a maximum gradient at 58%. But I can guarantee one of the most frustrated racers at the top of the mountain right now will be the current tour leader, Lindsey Vonn. She was desperate for the full-length track, which is quite a spectacular racetrack, but we have been beaten by Mother Nature. Nobody really complains, Britt, do they, when it snows like it is right now, creating this winter wonderland. But I think it could be one of the key characteristics to today's race, this flatter piece, short sprint, very little room for error, Britt, you've skied this, raced this many times before. Talk us through this racetrack.
Yes, we have Nicole Schmidhofer giving us a look at this track, and who has raced this track quite a few times. You can see she's right into her tuck. This is the first jump. They'll come into it today with less speed because we haven't started from up above, carrying all that speed from the upper part of the track, which means that these first initial turns through the waterfall, here's where it drops down into the compression. The speeds might be a little bit slower, but the turns come at you fast because the racetrack narrows and it feels like you are really traveling at a high speed. There's the panoramic curve, and then it drops quick onto the left ski and kind of shimmies through this narrow forest section. This right-footed turn is really key to carry speed out of the forest turn and into this final section. Now you can see it starts to open up. You've got a beautiful view of the whole finishing section. These turns are high speed. You have to take courage and be a little bit brave to take all your speed into the finish. And you'll see as Nicole comes here to this final jump. I loved this jump. It was so much fun. Always exciting to be able to take flight and land and then tuck for the finish line.
Yeah, it's wonderful, that Zielsprung, but early ski to snow contact is the key to success. I'm sure you'll all agree it is a sprint today. We have no choice. We only had one practice session on Wednesday from the lowered start. We were snowed out here yesterday, which means Peter Girdle, the FIS race director for the Women's Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, had no choice but to start today's competition from what is technically the Super G start, and that's the discipline that we'll be racing here in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee tomorrow. This is going to be an intriguing race, a real test. And of course, Britt, we can't get away from Lindsey Vonn, but the gliding, which is often associated with the equipment setup, is something that Lindsey has possibly worked harder on than anything else in the pre-season prep, the boot connection to the skis, and that is where Vonn thinks she's made the big breakthrough coming into this new season on this magical comeback tour.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago before Christmas in Val d'Isère, I was actually speaking with Svindal, and he's been a key component. Lindsey's always been really tuned in to her setup and her equipment, and I think having Svindal there to help her with that setup has really proved. She looks so comfortable on her skis. She's very clean on the edge, and that will be key through these big swooping turns on today's track.
How important do you think Svindal really is? He's a double Olympic champion. We know he's a superstar in his own right. But that transformation from ski racer to coach seems to have been just a natural change for Axel.
It really does. They're working so well together. Let's have a look at the top athletes.
So Vonn is the one to watch, going with bib number 6. She started her World Cup career here 10 years ago. Kira Weidle-Winkelmann. Puchner is the local girl to follow. Esther Ledecka can always be a threat for the Czech Republic. Piravano for Italy goes with 10. Emma Eicher is a winner this season on the downhill tour. And the last winner of the last round, Connie Hutter, goes with 12. Few back issues for Breezy Johnson. We'll watch her carefully. Ilke Stuhet's yet to hit top gear. Godja, winner of the last race here in Zauchensee, is always a threat. She's the best of buddies with Lindsey Vonn off the mountain, but they are fierce rivals when they go against each other on the mountain. And for me today, it's Vonn v Godja. I'm intrigued to see Corinne Suter make her comeback, and I certainly hope that Connie Hutter can back up her last win in Val d'Isère.
TV ready.
So Peter Girdle, the race referee and our race director, quickly goes through the jury. Quick check from Mickey Kugler. At one point, we didn't think we'd get this fourth downhill of the season away. The weather gods have given us a window. Let's hope the snow keeps off for the next hour or so we can get this downhill done. And I'm delighted. There was a question mark whether she would start or not. We've not seen Corinne Suter since the World Cup finals in Sun Valley, Idaho, back in March of last year. This is her first race of the season. And for those of you that have forgotten, this is the Olympic downhill champion from Switzerland, 185th World Cup start, 5 wins. And Corinne Suter won her first ever World Cup downhill here back in 2020. Welcome back, Corinne Suter. Let's see if the confidence is high. Let's see if Corinne Suter can get that preparation for the defense of her Olympic title. Winter Olympic Games are just around the corner.
Well, right away on the top here, you can see how she has to drop into that tuck position, try and get up to speed as fast as possible. Still getting a decent flight off that first jump. And now this is where you drop through the waterfall section and into this compression. Speeds really pick up through these turns.
Now, not as race sharp as perhaps you would like, but what she has told us is that this is the start of her pre-Olympic prep. There are 3 downhills before the Winter Olympic Games, and of course, men's and women's downhills are the opening Alpine races of the 25th Winter Olympics. The ladies racing in Cortina, the men racing in Bormio. So Corinne Suter literally trying to pick it up where she left off. A winner here 6 years ago. Corinne Suter, welcome back to the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, and Suter sets the early pace, 107.34 seconds. It is short, sweet, fast and furious, but it is good to have Corinne Suter back in action.
Yeah, and she definitely looks happy for it. Good smooth skiing from her, no real mistakes, but it was a little bumpy, a little rough on a couple of turns. We'll just have to see how that stacks against the rest.
Yeah, Britt, I'm not sure whether you saw the grimace on the face of Stefan Abnaup there, the head coach for the Swiss women's speed team. He didn't look that happy. Let's take a look at a Swiss former world champion. This is Jasmine Fleury, who was top of the table at the 2023 World Championships, took the downhill gold there, but struggling to find form this season. No better than 11th in her 3 downhills. And Britt, is it fair to say, skiers like Jasmine, who's on the cusp of Olympic selection, really needs to raise her game in the 3 downhills remaining before the Winter Games?
Absolutely. It's such a key month here in January, and the pressure, the expectations on the shoulders of these athletes, it's about managing those pressures, putting them aside, and still trying to go out and perform your best and reach that goal of representing your country at the Olympics.
Fleury now just needs to get a little bit more ahead of the line. She's dropping low, late and deep. And when the track is as short as we see today, there is very little room to make up time when the errors creep in here. And Fleury just a little lacking in confidence, I would say, Britt, on those opening turns. For me, the panorama curve could be the make or break today. 0.47 off the pace for Jasmine Fleury, which is good news for Corinne Suter. Not confident enough for me, Britt. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. She was strong on her skis, skiing smooth, but just not pushing, not taking those extra little moments to pull speed out of the turns. And as you said, I think that panorama, there's the exit of the panorama turn. That will be key for pulling speed to the bottom part of the track.
Here we go with the first of the French challengers, Romain Miradoli. Now, having a good season, no question of a doubt. In the top 15 in all 3 of her starts on the 2026 Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. 2 top 10 results as well. She'll be one of the ladies to watch in tomorrow's Super G. And here's a skier that's showing us she's got some gliding skills. Nice green light at sector 1.
Nice and compact over the jump. She's done what she needs to do on the opening part, and this is where she needs to keep the shoulders low, trust the line she saw in inspection, and that's a nice tight line as she comes through the compression here, and now strong on the right foot through the panorama turn.
It's good work from the French racer. Just 700ths off the pace here. Where you've got to be careful is when you open up out of that tuck shape, that you don't open up the shoulders and catch a lot of wind. It is down to minuscule marks here on this track, but look at this now. I love this aerodynamic shape, Britt. This is fast. She's cutting through the air effectively and efficiently as possible. Romain Miradoli for the French team takes top position by 0.37 of a second. Great skiing from the 31-year-old French racer.
You could see it on the bottom, that tight, compact position. She had that attitude, the determination to take as much speed from everywhere. But it was at the top here. She had the green light. She lost a little bit of time in the middle, but she found more speed on the bottom. And I think it was that compact position she was able to hold on to.
Now, I've got a funny feeling this track is going to speed up because there's a lot of fresh snow on that top surface. Once the racing line is clearly determined, it may get quicker and quicker for the next few races. Let's tune in carefully here with Kajsa Wickhoff-Lie of Norway. A very, very talented racer. I don't think she's hit top gear in downhill yet, but a skier never to write off. She really is a big event, a big game hunter with World Championship medals in Super G at the past 2 Worlds. She's taken bronze in 25 and 2023. And Kajsa Wickhoff-Lie here, Britt, no question, a fearless downhill racer on the women's tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at that turn. She lets the panorama turn run out a little bit wide and then just nice and smooth and calm as she switched into the next turn. Well, she has the green light so far. Now this is the exit of the forest section and she has a good view of the finish. This is where we saw Miradoli really get into that tight, compact position.
Oh, this is good. Confident. She's the fastest through the speed gun. Norway here looking to take the lead away from France. This is a beautiful closeout from Kajsa Wickhoff-Lie. Yes, the track might be getting quicker, but Kajsa Wickhoff-Lie with excellent execution there and the perfect race tactic to put Norway into top spots.
Good clean ski from the Norwegian. She's found some good results so far this season, but I'd love to see her just get back to that podium and keep creeping up faster and faster, and this is exactly what she needs to do.
Could be a big boost for the Norwegian, just at the right time in the season, with the Olympic downhill less than a month away now. That's Roswitha Stadlober there, president of the Austrian Ski Federation, here to cheer on her athletes. And the first of the local skiers, Ariane Reidler. Reidler, 10th position, her PB in the second downhill in St. Moritz. But again, Ariane Reidler, a racer with a lot of experience, 78th World Cup start, 2 podiums to her name.
Holding that tight, compact position, the tuck as she drops into the waterfall. Oh, she's cut the line quite a bit tighter than the others, but then that allows her to bring it out wide on the exit of the turn. Well, there, and you can see the reflection. That was the tightest line that we saw, and it shows in the time. Just didn't pull as much speed as she needed to from the upper turns.
It's quite a surprise, this one for me, Britt. She was 3rd in the Super G here back in 2022. She's almost pushing a little too aggressively, almost over-skiing this, as if it were the Super G rather than the downhill. Stark contrast in the style, technique and execution to our current leader, Kajsa Wickhoff-Lie. Too aggressive, too much on, too long on the turning ski, I'm trying to say. 0.83 off the pace. Ariane Reidler into 4th position.
Yeah, good clean skiing in the turns she likes. We'll look for her in the Super G tomorrow.
Yeah.
For me, it was just not releasing as much as she needed to. She wanted to turn those skis. And unfortunately here today on this track, it's all about letting them glide. Nice, smooth, long turns.
Here we go with this amazing comeback story. Lindsey Vonn, 2-time winner here in Zauchensee, but 10 and 15 years ago. Let me repeat the stats one more time. 41 years of age, 414 World Cup starts, 83 wins, 142 podiums, and Vonn is out here again 10 years after her last victory, searching for top spot. She was absolutely gutted to hear that we're starting from the lower start. Upper section of this racetrack clearly suits Vonn's style and technique. The $1 million question right now, Britt, can Vonn pull it off on the shortened racetrack?
Well, she's very much untouched here on the opening part of the track, and she's relaxed. It's that transition from one turn to the next, the way she just switches from one edge and picks up the new ski. She's really building a lot of speed here as she exits the forest section. Oh, and she does have the green light.
The green light they were looking for. Von, right side of the clock. She won the opener, second in round 2, third in Val d'Isère, and Von is going for her second win of the season. Lindsey Vonn, watch the clock. Lindsey Vonn is there. Oh, the crowd just love it. Vonn, 0.37, right side of the clock. USA, top of the table. And Vonn knows it's good.
Oh, she absolutely knows it's good. The determination she had from top to bottom. Look at that. The first jump doesn't even break her tuck position. And then from the turns, she did what needed to be done. Blended one turn to the next and carried all of her speed from one section into the next.
Cool, calm, collected. Lindsey Vonn puts down a storming run. Is anybody got the nerve to beat the new target time? 1 minute 06.24. Now, the German number 1, Kira Weidle-Winkelmann, is next on course out of the Starnberg Ski Club. Kira on the podium in the last round of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. Second, of course, to Cornelia Hutter of Austria. Good opening section. No shortage of commitment here from the German.
You really see now with these top racers how they're keeping the shoulders low, trying to hold that tuck position as much as you can. What I love about Kira's position is that even when she's out of her tuck, the hands are right out, close to the front, staying as aerodynamic as she can.
The German says this is one of her favorite stops on the tour. This is where she had her first World Cup race 10 years ago, and the 10th anniversary is going well. The light is red, but the speed through the gun is fast. It's another very clean and speedy closeout, but has Weidle-Winkelmann left her challenge just a little too late? Here's another racer that needed a longer track. Weidle-Winkelmann of Germany goes into 4th position, 0.77 off the pace of Lindsey Vonn, leading for the Stiefel American team.
Yeah, here today on the short track, it's all about executing your run every turn exactly as you want. There's no room for any error or letting the line slip. And there's a little scrub at the top of the turn from Weidle-Winkelmann, and that's all it takes on this shorter racetrack here today.
Here we go. This is the local favourite, Miriam Puckner, third in this race last year, beaten by Goggia and Connie Hutter. Literally lives just down the valley. Her form this season is good. 2 top 5 results from 3 downhill starts. She knows this track, Brit, like the back of her hand. She skied here as a youngster. She's raced here on the Europa Cup Tour. If there's local knowledge is one of the key ingredients to success, this lady has pocketfuls.
Yeah, she has it. It's such a different feeling when you race on your home slope. I can draw from my experience having raced at the Vancouver Games on my home hill that I grew up on. It kind of settled me. I knew everything was familiar. It took the nerves away and I could just focus in and dial in on what I wanted to do on the race course. And this is good, clean skiing from Puckner. If anything, just a little bit of roughness on the edge at the top of the turn.
Oh, and this is a huge disappointment. No problem with the speed through the gun at 113 kilometers per hour, just on the 70 mph point of speed. But Puckner will be very disappointed with this. Miriam Puckner, 1.38 off the pace. The fans still roar her home, but dropping into 7th position will be a disappointment for Miriam.
Oh, I imagine Puckner, one of those racers that would have loved to have started from the top of this track.
Yeah, totally agree with you there, Britt. That's when the local knowledge can really come in. Well, here's Lindsey Vonn. She's on the phone, but she's on the phone to her teammates to give them valuable course report on the racetrack. Now, this lady's starting to get faster and faster as the tour unfolds. It's Esther Ledecka of the Czech Republic. And of course, Esther, an Olympic champion on both her skis and her snowboard. I could tell you that story time and time again. It still brings a smile to my face. But when she's got the skis on, she's a 4-time World Cup winner, 11 times on the podium, 30 years of age. Britt, she's going to try and do the double again at the Winter Olympics. But for now, Esther's gone no better than 6th position on the World Cup Tour. She needs a couple of big results heading into Milan Cortina.
She certainly does, and I think a track like this could really play into her hands nicely. She's so good at gliding. Watch how she just rolls. It's that blend from her snowboarding skills onto the skis, the way she can roll with the ankles so nice and smoothly.
She's such a nice lady. She's got such a great personality. I love the way she screams at herself down the mountain. When it feels good, you don't hear anything. When she's in trouble, she really tells herself off. Esther Ledecka, almost into a podium position there. 3/4 of a second off the pace of our leader, Von. Ledecka going into 4th position. Now, Britt, we need to look carefully at the piste condition here, because you can see the skis of Ledecka just bubbling as the piste possibly starts to cut a little.
Yeah, as we get further down the start list, it will get a little bit bumpy. Those little ripples will just make it harder to run a clean, smooth, fast turn.
Pirovano of Italy next on course. Another skier, I have to say, Britt, I've been impressed with this season. 3 top 10 results from 3 downhill races. Each one of them getting bigger, better and faster. 8th in the opener, 6th and 5th in our last downhill stop in Val d'Isère. This lady's already booked herself a spot in the Italian Olympic downhill squad. So now, surely she can focus on a podium performance.
Absolutely. She has been so impressive in the opening turns, and already here on this early part of this race run, she's so in touch, and there's that confidence. When you're carrying confidence in your skiing, you're able to just release the turn a little bit more and then make that strong transition. It's so important in downhill to have that confidence to let the skis run.
Yet to crack the podium on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. This is her 118th World Cup start. 28-year-old Italian, Laura Pirovano now coming in. Just got to get this last jump clean. The Italian takes it close. Oh, 3rd position. Maybe today's the day. Pirovano finally books a spot on the podium. And I think you called it perfectly, Britt. Confidence when she was getting bumped and bounced a little low in the race line, but she doesn't hit the panic button. She flows with the mountain. There, I think, is the recovery move.
Yeah, beautiful skiing from Pirava in those turns. That was exactly what she needed to do.
Okay, here we go, Germany. Emma Eicher, 2-time downhill World Cup winner, the winner of the 2nd downhill in St. Moritz back on the 13th of December. This lady is the ultimate all-rounder of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup. Twice on the podium in slalom, top 15 in giant slalom, on the podium in Super G, and a downhill winner. Is this the new Maria Riesch of Germany? Because right now, Emma Eicher can do no wrong on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour.
Drops into this panorama turn. She's just off the pace ever so slightly. This is where she really needs to get into that next gear, find some more speed here on the lower part of the track. Through this forest section, and now strong on the left ski to bring all the speed around on the closeout of this shortened downhill track.
And you use the word shortened, Britt. It's not music to Emma Eicher's ears. Here's another racer that would have loved the technical turns and the big jumps on the upper part of this racetrack that have been taken away. Emma Eicher for Germany misses the podium into 4th position. Oh, the German racer, their fastest so far. Head coach Andy Pulacker will be happy with this. Britt, my question for you with Emma, is she doing too much? Is her training regime starting to push her a little too hard?
Well, she's young, she has energy, so I think she can manage it, but that's definitely something the coaches will have to keep an eye on. But
yeah, Andy Pulacker needs to be aware.
Yeah.
Now here's Connie Hooter's family. There's her dad there, I think, as well. I had a podcast with Connie Hooter earlier this season, and she talks about her dad. They're from Kumberg. They're farmers that they run in just outside of Graz. But most importantly, come game day, Connie Hooter, winner of the last downhill on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. A brilliant ski in Val d'Isère. Can Connie Hooter, who was second in this race in the Super G last year, do the business again? This is one of the few races for me, Britt, that can take it to Vaughan today.
Yeah, I completely agree. She's absolutely charging here, but oh, that time lost in that short section. Can she pull it back here on the lower part of the track? Lindsay, for me, skied really clean from here down, and it was the speed from this fourth section that Lindsay was able to pull on to the closeout of this track. Oh, she's off the pace.
Yeah, she's off the race line as well. She's let it run a little low, late and deep. Now she's battling to find the speed in this closeout. There is so little room for error in the shortened racetrack here today. Connie Hooter, 8th position. Another example. It needs to be clean, squeaky clean from top to bottom. And one small error, you pay the price. With less than a second separating the top 8. Almost throws it away off the jump as well. Connie
Yeah, if
Hooter,
you think back to
a brave
Lindsay's run, she was so clean and compact off the jumps, and Hooter just missing the mark here on the track today.
Now there's Goggia taking it all in at the top of the slope, watching the racing line, discussing it with the coach telling her this is where you need to have the feet and skis, and this is where you don't want to be. Now, the reigning world downhill champion from the Stiefel American team is Breezy Johnson. 4th and 7th in her last two downhill starts. Now, Breezy struggling with a little bit of a back injury, but let's hope that Breezy now can find some podium form. Always a threat, always a skier to watch very carefully indeed. Experience now on her side. 103 World Cup starts. 8 podiums, but yet to win on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour.
Yeah, and just there on the exit of the panorama turn, she went a little bit wide. You can guarantee that the person that Lindsay was on the phone with, the report she was giving was to Breezy Johnson here as she charges her way down the closeout of this track.
It's slipping away for Breezy Johnson. Look at the sector times to the right of your screens. 0.53. Lovely execution off the finish jump, but again the turns higher up the track take their toll. 5th position for Breezy Johnson, showing good consistency, and that's what the American Olympic team selectors will be looking for. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Breezy will be part of the American Olympic squad. But Breezy looking for victories here today. And it's Vaughan for the USA that leads. Ilka Stuhetz, 12th position, her PB here. Now, let's see if Ilka Stuhetz, who's been raising her form and game with each of her starts, 14, 12 and 4th in the last round of the downhill tour on the 20th of December in Val d'Isère. Of course, the Slovenian #1, a double world champion out of Maribor. Lovely opening turns on the upper section. Cuts the line tight. Oh, I love the way, Britt, that Ilka Stuhetz is risking here.
She is. This is clean skiing, and it's exactly what she needs to do. When I saw her race in Val d'Isère, I thought I started to see the Ilka Stuhetz of old, that confident, strong, fast downhill skier.
Lindsey Vonn will watch this carefully. All sector 3 goes against the 35-year-old Slovenian. She's an 11-time World Cup winner. Stuhetz, 106.87 for the podium. Again, it's the closeout, this gliding, long gliding section to the finish line that puts pay to Stuhetz's dream of a podium here today. Just 2 downhills after today left on the women's tour. They'll be in Tarvisio on the 17th. and Crans-Montana on the 30th of this month. Okay, here we go. Last year's winner, Sofia Goggia, 2018 Olympic downhill champion. She won this race in style a year ago, but it was not on the shortened track. Full-length race piste 12 months ago. Third her PB in downhill this season, a winner in Super G. I've got a funny feeling that Goggia's peak form is still coming. One of the real characters of the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, one of the most courageous female skiers I think we've ever seen in a decade or two.
I would absolutely agree. Goggia is so exciting to watch. Her determination, the skill that she has on her skis, and the recovery that she makes sometimes. But oh, she's off the pace. This is not where I thought that Goggia would be midway down this track.
No, she's dropped it a little low and late, out of panorama curve. Oh, this is looking just a little off with the timing. 0.45, she's got the fastest section, but there's so little room to make up time here. Goggia coming fast, coming furious in the closeout. Goggia powers off the final jump. Goggia dives for the line. No, not bringing the speed off those steep technical turns. We mustn't forget that even though this is a short sprint, 58% is the steepest gradient, but if you put in the errors like we see here, it's so difficult to make up the time.
Well, Lindsay's held off another, and she would have watched that run closely. Goggia's going for that top spot.
Well, off the top 15 world-ranked racers, Lindsey Vonn is on track for her second victory of the season. Vic Off-Lee, her first podium, and a similar story for the Italian Laura Pirovano, who will claim her first podium if they hold on to third position. But there's some talented skiers still to race, including Jacqueline Wiles, Nicole Delago, and Keely Cashman, to name but a few. But for now, top three in reverse order: Italy, Norway, and Vonn, watching and waiting patiently to see if she's recorded her 84th World Cup victory and her 45th in downhill. So there is Jacqueline Wiles, who was on the podium here in the downhill back in 2017, her first career podium. Nina Ortlieb, another Austrian racer on the comeback from injury, and Keely Cashman, the self-funded American racer that is also starting to find some very good form. Interested to see Nina Ortlieb here, who will race with bib 18. That's Magdalena Egger, another skier that had a big breakthrough in the opening downhill of the season, second to Lindsey Vonn. Here's Jackie Wiles, now 33 years of age, 3 World Cup podiums, first of those podiums here in Zauchensee, Altenmarkt, back in 2017. Christine Scheer won the race. Tina Weirreiter was second. Now, let's see if she can get back to her podium skiing ways here today. With a PB of 15th this season, Britt, she's right on the cusp of Olympic qualification. She needs a big race today.
Yeah, she certainly does, and perhaps she can take confidence from watching Lindsay charge down this track, and she knows that her teammate has top spot. There's a lot that can be said for that. When your team is doing well at the bottom, you can really take confidence in the course report you're getting from your teammate, but also the course report from your coaches on the side of the track.
Oh, well, from a very impressive Sector 1 time, just 600s, right on track for second position here. And Jackie Wiles just needs to keep this clean, smooth, and error-free in the closeout. She's bringing good speed. 0.27 off the pace of Vonn. Still has Jackie Wiles in contention for the podium and a potential American Team 1-2. Jackie Wiles now off the final jump. A little wild. Wiles goes into third spot. Oh, Lindsey Vonn is delighted. USA 1 and 3. Sensational skiing.
Wow. Well, that's the closest we've seen anyone on those first two splits, and she managed to keep the speed up on the closeout. That's been the key. We just saw Gojia come down and lose half a second on the lower part.
Well, that's the little bump that just threw her off balance, catches the edge, but recovers just in the nick of time. This performance for Jackie Wiles may well have booked her a ticket to the 25th Winter Olympic Games. Now, can Austria get back into this race? They're struggling at the moment. They still don't have a skier in the top 10. Let's follow Magdalena Egger, second in the opening downhill of the season to Lindsey Vonn, our current leader.
Oh,
Egger's gone in. And that's the first spill of the day. And a very hard hit indeed for the 24-year-old Austrian. Peter Girdle, race director, immediately puts the race on hold. Marshals, medical assistants are all in the racer. Now we just hope that she's just a little tangled in the netting. Oh. Alexandra Meissnitzer with Roswitha Stadlober in the finish area. Roland Assinger, head coach of the Austrian women's team. And this is, well, let's hope. Britt, this is one of the unfortunate moments in downhill racing, but this is the news. Oh, she's up. She looks to be bruised, battered, but unhurt. The medical assistant is going through the routine check. Britt, you've been in this position yourself, and with the adrenaline still pumping, hitting the net at 70 miles per hour, it's an incredibly difficult situation.
yeah, it sure is. Well, I'm glad to see Egger up. Just getting caught on the inside ski, and quickly we see just how fast these athletes are racing down this track. And yeah, looks like Egger just got a little bit caught up in the fencing there, but we cross our fingers that she's gonna be okay.
She's conscious, she's up on her feet. Now let's just get another check. We won't show the replays of the crash until we know the athlete is unhurt, and if Egger is able to ski away from this one, well, that is the picture that we were hoping to see from our TV director, Mickey Kugler. Yeah, she's just going and checking. It's good to see that the Austrian doctor is there. Here's the replay now. Britt, talk us through this one. The ski breaks away, then she gets caught on the inside edge, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just as the slope is also starting to kind of round and bend over, so the hill's wanting to push her that way into the fence. And if you get your weight just a little bit on the inside ski, she loses contact with the outside ski and goes crashing down.
Beide sind hier gefahren. Die Roswitha schon 1979 hat uns gestern nochmals erzählt. Und Alexandra Meissnitzer,
Well, a little bit of a bloody nose.
großartige Erfolge gefeiert, die diese Dame mit Sicherheit auch noch feiern wird hier.
Well, all celebrations. I'm not convinced this race is over. But I think the congratulations are for Jackie Wiles, who's close to repeating that podium performance back in 2017. I'm delighted to see that Madeleine Egger is up on her feet. 23 for the Austrian team is Christina Arger. Nina Ortli will be next in the gate, also for the Austrian team, host nation to this fourth World Cup of downhill, round 4 of 9. Keely Cashman, I have a sneaking suspicion that Keely could shake up some of the top positions as well. She's finding good form and confidence with each and every race in downhill and Super G this season. And understandably, our race TV director, Mickey Kugler, starting to find the American athletes. Alison Mullin And there's Nina. Nina Ortlieb. Now, Nina Ortlieb, this becomes a tricky time for her. A skier that's coming back from injury, has had more than her fair share of crashes, a high-speed fall in Garmisch. Britt, as a former ski racer, as we see the big hugs from Svindal to Lindsey Vonn here, coach and athlete. I must point out that Chris Knight is the head coach of the Vonn team. Britt, you've been on a race hold in the start gate before. Does it unsettle the nerves?
It can do. It's not the easiest part about downhill and Super G. I mean, even in GS and slalom, you can get holds, but it's very rare. Downhill and Super G, you just have to be used to it.
Today I even tried to push you to get more angry.
Gerade gehört, die Maggie wird selber herunterfahren mit den Skien und dementsprechend Mama, Papa, Familie.
Well, there's words of wisdom from Axel and Svindal. The balance, the timing, all perfect. Let's keep listening in.
I think that's the
Weil wir jetzt eine kurze Pause haben, wir natürlich
kind
auch
of have to
Christian
change the
Scherer hier
strategy
begrüßen,
from the training run,
den
and then you just fucking nail it on the
Generalsekretär
first
des
try.
österreichischen Skiverbandes, Axel und Swindal.
Well, again,
FaceTime my dad.
Sehr, sehr fröhlich Gespräch mit der
FaceTime my dad.
He's here.
No. What?
See you later.
Okay, what? Okay.
Now, what Axel is referring to there, while Lindsay FaceTimes her dad, is her training performance. Britt, she was 50th in the one and only practice run.
Dad.
And Axel is telling Lindsay how impressive she turned around that negativity into a positive.
Yeah, you saw the intensity in Lindsay's eye, like in her body position in the start gate, and she carried that intensity the whole length of the track. She clearly came in with a very good race plan, but it's the ability to then go ahead and execute it. That's where Lindsay is standing above and beyond the rest.
And these are the pictures with Magdalena Egger. Skis are back on. I think there'll be a couple more checks from the medical team of Austria before they allow her to ski down the mountain. Just lost the purchase on the outside ski, then got caught on the inside ski, slammed into the outside gate. But that's tough for Magdalena Egger after such a brilliant start to her downhill campaign for the 2026 season. Runner-up to Lindsey Vonn in the opener in St. Moritz, Switzerland. Peter Gerdolf, our race referee. Gerdolf still has the race on hold. And tentatively, she's back onto the racetrack. Just wants to feel the knee. She's from the Vorarlberg region of Austria. No, not very good, she's saying now to the doctor. Oh, I hope this is not what I think it could be. Britt, what do you feel?
Yeah, it doesn't look great. She's giving a shake of her head. I mean, I think she'll take it cautiously, and if it doesn't feel great, she'll definitely not ski down on it. So I just have to wait and see. It would be such a shame. That opening downhill in her first podium was pretty spectacular.
Well, we're still on a hold here in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee. It's downhill 4 of 9 on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, race 18 of 37. This is why the race is on hold. Magdalena Egger here, already a podium performer on the tour, just gets a little bit compressed and leaning in too much on the turn. She's standing on the uphill ski. The feet slide from underneath, slams in the control gate, and I think that's where a potential damage to the knee could have happened. The safety netting doing its job, taking all the energy out of the fall. But it looks that the left ski has now been taken off, and she's not happy with the feelings that she's got in that left knee. Nina Ortlieb will be the next racer to start for the Austrian team. Let me quickly bring you up to date with the podium positions. Lindsey Vonn sets the pace and target time, leading with 106.24 seconds. Kajsa Lee of Norway, potentially her first podium of the 2026 season, lying in second spot. 0.37 behind Vonn, and then 0.48, another American racer, Jackie Wiles, holding third spot Pirovano down to 4, Emma Eicher 5, Breezy Johnson 6, 3 Americans in the top 6. But now we're starting to see that there could be an issue.
Yeah, that's that. Earlier we were talking about the adrenaline. You have that crash, you kind of do a body scan when the adrenaline starts to wear off. I think what we're seeing here, Egger's now feeling that pain a little bit more, and looks to be that right knee. That was her outside foot here, as she starts the turn strong, but as the terrain starts to round over and drop away from her, she just gets caught on the inside, and that's a tough crash from the Austrian.
Yeah, it's a tough crash from one of their top downhillers this season, Magdalena Egger and Connie Hutter. Egger lies 6th in the Tour standings, Connie Hutter 3rd. And when they call in the helicopter, you know it's a little more serious than perhaps we had first anticipated. And it looks like that she needs to be taken down to Radstadt Hospital as quick as possible for a closer analysis here. Right knee, Britt, well spotted. I thought it was the left at first, but it clearly is a pain and issue with the right knee for Magdalena Egger, and this is a real heartbreaker for the new star of the Austrian speed team. Just 24 years of age. She's a former world junior champion in downhill in Super G out of the Vorarlberg region. Parents are farmers just outside of Lech. And I think that the medical team have decided that she needs to be winched off the mountain and taken down the valley to the hospital as quick as they possibly can. So Peter Gedel will keep the race on hold until the helicopter operation is complete. Bring you up to date once again with the standings. Downhill Tour leader looking for her 2nd win of the season. Lindsey Vonn at the top of the table, 106.24. Fastest time of the day so far on this shortened downhill track. Kaiser Wickoff-Lee, Jackie Wiles making up the podium positions. Look how she holds her aerodynamic shape. 70 miles an hour, fearless off the jump, but trying to stay as aerodynamic and as efficient as possible. Beautiful closeout from Vonn. And really turning the tables on a very poor practice session down in 50th position. A big shock for many of us. And once again, this amazing comeback story to our sport after all those years away. And a 3rd win on the cards in downhill for Lindsey Vonn. The last one was in 2016. Before that, it was in 2011. And at 41 years of age, wow, Lindsey Vonn once again redefining the rule book of sport for women with a crackerjack performance and defying all the odds once again.
Als zweites Highlight würde ich sagen, die dritte goldene Medaille von Matthias Mayr. Ich finde, das ist eine Leistung, die man gar nicht hoch genug einschätzen kann, dass man bei 3 Olympischen Spielen hintereinander jeweils die Goldmedaille gewinnt. Und ich finde, für das hat er...
The Olympic downhill champion of 2010 has come back this season to try and claim a 2nd Olympic downhill gold in Cortina d'Ampezzo. It's a resort where she's won the downhill 11 times before. But what she's also doing is reliving some of those magical moments to build the confidence. Build the confidence heading to the Winter Games less than a month away.
Nina Ortlieb, Bodie Miller, Mottelmeier und natürlich den Teddy, kann ich mich auch noch gut erinnern, 1992 auf dieser berühmten Fastelwart hat er Gold in der Königsdisziplin. Genau, so, wir haben ein bisschen Zeit und die soll er übernehmen. Dani Hammerschmitz.
Now here's a note for your diary. Sunday, the 8th of January, is the women's downhill at the 25th Winter Olympic Games. And on Saturday, the 10th of January, Lindsey Vonn is looking very, very good for her second win of the season, extending her lead at the top of the downhill tour standings. She's looking to win the downhill crystal for the 9th time in her career. And I think if a win comes today for Vonn, it will be another step forwards from a confidence perspective. Having skied really nothing like we expected in the practice run here 2 days ago on Thursday. Yesterday's training was cancelled. To pick herself up, forget about the bad day and create a magical day is going to help Lindsey Vonn no end at all. Sad pictures for Magdalena Egger here, the Austrian. Still leaving a lot of racers at the top of the track. Needing to focus here, Elena Cortoni. That's Nina Ortlieb. Waiting and preparing. It's going to take a few more minutes. And Egger, who was carrying bib number 17, with 57 on the start list, we still have another 40 skiers to go here in Altenmarkt. The reason why we've been starting them at very short intervals, feels like the race is moving along quicker than normal, not as much time for analysis as we would normally have in World Cup competitions, because the forecast for the mid to late afternoon is heavy snowfall once again. Let's hope we don't get beaten by the weather here. We can see the snowflakes starting to fall once again. But of course, the safety and health of our athletes is the #1 priority on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour. And this sums up what has been a tough day for Austria so far. Their fastest, Ariana Reidler. No, my apologies. Connie Hutter is the best of the Austrian team in 12th position.
Während wir hier diese 3 Highlights auf der Videoleinwand sehen und die nächsten 3 Highlights. Wo sind die Fans von der Carmen Spielberger?
Nina Ortlieb waits patiently before the race is restarted by Peter Gerdl. Roland Assinger, of course, head coach of the women's speed team. Well, these are the sad pictures that we really don't like to see. Christina Aga. Waiting, watching. Britt, for the racers at the top, they need to hold their focus now and clearly not let these... they can hear the helicopter, they can see the helicopter, they know the crash is a little serious. But this is one of the skills of the downhill racer, not to let these distractions affect your own performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing when you're in that zone and you're focused for your race run, you can actually just not see it in a sense. You have to stay in your race preparation with your plan, and just when there's a hold at the top like this, it's just about stepping back a little bit, resetting, staying relaxed, not over focusing on the racetrack and your race run. So you really have to just step back, tell a little joke, have a chat with your teammates. But yeah, it really is a skill that you kind of hone in each and every time that you have to deal with a stop-start like this and an athlete being pulled off the slope. You have to almost disassociate from it. That their crash and that has nothing to do with me. I'm going to stick with my race plan here today.
Well, Lindsey Vonn. Waiting patiently to see whether she has done enough to take her second win of the season. Starts to begin the walk through the corral of all the media and interviews. Not sure whether she should be claiming the victory just yet. Not until after bib 30, to be honest. She's heading back to the Audi leader's chair. As the race is about to resume, Vonn hoping today is her 84th World Cup victory, her 45th win in downhill, as this comeback story continues to grab the headlines. Oh, for Vonn today, 70th downhill podium. It makes her the third Alpine skier to reach 70 podiums in a single discipline, after Ingemar Stenmark and, of course, Michaela Schifrin. And what I love about this story, and it's classic Lindsey Vonn, just when we are starting to doubt, she puts in a spellbinding performance. Really is great to see. And this new partnership that she struck up with Axel Lund Svindal, himself a double Olympic champion. One of Norway's most successful racers of all time, stepping into the role of coach. And they seem to be able to do no wrong. Britt, quick question for you. Do you think she's won this, or do you think this race is still wide open?
Well, it's hard to say. I think this hold is going to be helping her. I think her run is going to be difficult to beat, especially if it continues to stay dark, the clouds stay in. if the weather changes and it brightens up, the track could pick up. The way Lindsay skied, the conditions she had, it has stayed pretty consistent throughout these 17 athletes that have 16 athletes that are in the finish. I'm going to cross my fingers that Lindsay holds on to this lead, because what a spectacular story this is. The confidence that she's going to get from this. And like you said, that turnaround, she wasn't great in the first training run. And to come around today, put together a plan, execute it like she did with the intensity that she had from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's going to take something very, very special indeed. Now, here is Nina Ortlieb, who's made her comeback this season from injury. She was away for over 10 months. This young lady's had over 30 surgeries. Can you believe that stat? But the comeback has been rock solid. She's the daughter of Patrick Ortlieb, the 1992 Olympic downhill champion. 10th, 8th, and 11th. Let's see if Nina can put behind the delay, refocus, and challenge Von here. My position and my view from the comm box has the weather conditions deteriorating, not getting any better. So the odds are in favour for Lindsey Vonn here, but let's see if Nina Ortlieb, and in particular the Austrian athletes that have raced many national championships on this track. But again, we get a view there of the clouds darkening. What time is it? 12:30. And the forecast snowfall seems to be correct. And I have to say, Britt Ortlieb just looking a little tentative on this opening section.
Yeah, I would completely agree there. She's really cut the line. She's just hesitating as she comes into each turn, standing up quite a bit taller. You see the chest up, open, catching the air. This is not the same racer that we've seen in the previous 3 downhills so far this season.
Nina Ortlieb needs to be careful here, stand positively on that outside turning ski as the 29-year-old from the famous Montana Hotel of Lech in Alberg. Yeah, that long wait and the crash of Magdalena Egger has just taken a little bit of the edge off Nina Ortlieb's performance. In her defense, the weather conditions seem to be darkening. Yeah, you can see she's not happy with that.
No, that's a tough restart for Ortlieb. Her teammate has started ahead of her. She knows it. She's held in the start for a long time. As we've said, she's coming back from injury herself. I think she'll feel frustrated with that one, absolutely.
Signature on the leader's bib. I hope that is for an auction of a worthy cause. Let's go to race at 19. Now the Italians have just been pushed off the podium by the Americans. Laura Pirovano down into 4th position. Let's see if Nicole Delago can turn the tables and seek revenge here. This is a little more like it, Britt. Aggressive, sending it, looking for speed. A good aggressive start from the Italian.
Yeah, good skiing here. Pirovano is, apologies, Delago. Her teammate down there. Delago has been on the podium here, and she can certainly take some more speed here on these finishing turns.
Yeah, she was runner-up here in 2020, just beaten by Corrine Suter. Now, that is one of her 5 podiums. Nicole Delago. Ooh. Now we're getting back into the race game. 8th position for Nicole Delago, but I like the commitment. I like the focus and that she's prepared to push it. Maybe not as clean as it needed to be, but fearless from Delago. Marta Monsen carries bib 20 for Norway. Kaiser Vikhoff Lee for the Norwegian team holds runner-up position. Vonn still our current leader. Now, oh, she's gone as well. And almost a second crash of the day. It's getting darker up there, and you really do need to be sure of the racing line. And that's a shame for Marta Monson, 13th and 9th in her past 2 races. Talk us through this one, Britt. What went wrong here?
Well, she takes a good flight off the jump, tries to hold that compact position, enters this turn. This is this right-footed turn where you can hold on to your tuck, but she gets too close to that second gate of that double turn, and you can see she gets a little bit squashed, doesn't fight to make the next gate as she drops into the waterfall, and I'm glad to see her ski away from that. But I love the way that she has been skiing this season. She's getting stronger and stronger with every race.
She's running out of chances to secure her spot. There's Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee holding second position. Great to see Kaiser back to her podium performance ways. 21 is ready to rumble. This is Priska Mingnufer for the Swiss team. Now, a World Cup winner in Crans-Montana back in 2022, but struggled since then with her form and is yet to put points on the board on the 2026 season. So, Britt, we're back to that Olympic qualification story that will become a regular talking point between now and the big day on the 8th of February, the women's downhill. Priska's putting herself under a fair bit of pressure here.
Yeah, she certainly is. And if we're talking about it, you can guarantee the athletes know all about it. The coaches are keeping a close eye on things, and it's such high pressure moments. These World Cup races, they come and go every season and out. The Olympics once every 4 years, and you want to claim one of those 4 places and represent your country. So Mingnufer here, it's clean skiing. This is smooth. She's doing what she needs to do. She's trying to find that tuck position and keep the shoulders low and aerodynamic as much as she can, but the time is just bleeding away.
And here's a clear example. She just doesn't have the race pace and confidence to match the likes of Von, Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee and Jackie Wiles. Good skiing, but not race sharp. 19th position, 1.71. Well, Priska will be happy to put her first World Cup points on the board if she can hold that top 20 result. And are yet to crack the top 30 on tour this season. We need to keep rolling through. That's Roberta Malisi, 25 for the Italian team. You can see the Italian coaches still believe this race is open. Keely Cashman for USA. From California, Keely. Now, interesting story here. She's self-funded, travels with her father, John Cashman, who's the head coach of the Palisades Tahoe team. She's knocking on the door, Britt. 24th, 28th, 14 and in 11th position. For somebody that's not officially part of the American team, she's putting together a very solid season.
Yeah, she certainly is. And at this last split, only 0.6 off the pace. This is a good split. This is a good closeout here from Cashman, holding that tuck position as tight as she possibly can.
Keely Cashman of California, USA, looking for a big point score here today. Cashman, 13th position. That's the best of her downhill season so far. Coming with every race for this young lady. And I don't think they'll pass her by on team selection for future seasons.
Yesterday looks like the best result for Keely Cashman this season in the downhill.
Watch out for Keely.
Bis es soweit ist, bis Christina Ager als nächste rankommt, schalten wir kurz zu unsere Partner.
So, after the top 22 ranked racers and the weather deteriorating, certainly from a visibility perspective, Lindsey Vonn's leading time of 106.24 seconds is starting to look better and better. I'm delighted for Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee, her first podium of the season, and Jackie Wiles hits the podium again here in Zauchensee, some 9 years after her first career podium here back in 2017. Top 3 in reverse order: Jackie Wiles, Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee And Lindsey Vonn extending her lead at the top of the downhill tour standings if she takes the 100 points for the victory today, potentially claiming her second win of the season. Next racer in 30 seconds. Now, if we get to bib number 30, no matter what happens with this looming weather storm, the race will stand. So Lindsay looking a little nervous, more nervous in the finish area than she did at the start, to be honest. Let's go back to the Austrian team. This is Christina Ager. Again, Christina needs a result here today. One World Cup podium in her career today. 96th World Cup start here today. Interesting to note that that one career podium for Christina was on the Olympic track in Cortina d'Ampezzo back in 2024. But Britt, is it my aging eyes or is this weather deteriorating?
No, I think you're spot on. It is deteriorating. It's gotten darker. You can really see that change in visibility, and that will make it more challenging for the racers to see the definition of the snow, but also to take that, to have that ability to just let the skis go and search for that top speed.
I think we all know what it's like, don't we? When it's a clear blue sky day, you feel so much more confident on your skis. When it's a little foggy and you can't read the terrain, you tend to back off a bit. And I think that's what we're seeing from the skiers right now. That's the name of the game in an outdoor winter sport, but they're clearly, Vonn has had the best of the light and the weather conditions. These later skiers will struggle. Christina Ager 0.97 off the pace as she takes the Zauchensee Zielsprung 1.58, 19th position. Yeah, these conditions are starting to take their effect on the performances now.
Yeah, you can see it there with Ager, those last two splits, losing over about 0.6 of a second. The lower part of this race course is where the speeds pick up, it gets narrow, it feels faster. And that darker, that flatter light will make it more challenging to just stay on the front of the ski and to continue to charge the bottom part of this track.
I was like, oh my god, it's snowing so much, I'm not going to make it up here.
Okay. The family of Janine Schmidt are in the crowd. They've come to support this 25-year-old racer. Now, Janine has scored points, but no better than 23rd on the tour. This would be a huge headline grabber if Janine could steal the lead from Vonn. But just as we were saying that it can take a little bit of the pace and tempo out of the performance when the weather deteriorates, this lady is looking very courageous here, really pushing it as the visibility gets worse.
Yeah, now she comes out of this forest section. Oh, that's a fast split from Schmidt. She's low in her tuck here. That's a clean ski on the upper part of the turn. The work is done above.
Here we go for Switzerland. This could be the first upset from the later numbers. 106.72. Janine Schmidt. This position. The family of absolutely delighted in the crowd. It's a huge PB for Janine Schmidt. That's the best she has ever skied on the World Cup Tour by a country mile. Brilliant skiing from Janine. Just as we started to believe the odds were going against the racers, Janine Schmidt has the ski and the race of her career to date.
Wow. The turns in the middle part of that race, look at the way she picks up the ski, nice and clean. It's as if she had a smooth, clear track. That was beautifully executed.
Yeah, Stefan Abnamalt there, just loving it. And when you start not ticking off top tens like that, all of a sudden the Olympic selectors start to take notice. Now, Roberta Malesi next on course for the Italian team. Here's another young lady that's got a bit of attitude like Sofia Goggia, not afraid to push the boundaries. Let's take a look at sector split 3. This was where Schmidt really had the sweet turns. Ooh, it's gone. 1.09 off the pace. Now, Pirovano, the best of Italy, 4th, and Malisi, 19th position there for Roberta. Well, maybe this race is not over yet. There's a lovely drone shot of the jump. Gaucher for the French team is out on course. She's from Tignes, a resort that you know very well, Britt. You're living there right now, I believe. And Laura Gaucher, I always think a skier to watch. An impressive top 5 in the opening Super G of the season.
And it's that confidence that's building, I think, for Gaucher. She's learning the tracks year after year, and then now she knows that she has the ability to ski right up there with the fastest. And this is clean as she enters the panorama turn. A good second split here from Gaucher.
Yeah, I like that. She drifts a little low and late, but doesn't press the panic button, just flows with the terrain and the mountain. Sector 3 will be the make or break for the French racer right now, but she could be on track. 0.54. If she can just find another 10th, let those head skis wash over the snow in the closeout, and Gaucher could steal 3rd position from Jackie Wiles. Gaucher for the French team. 12th position. Oh, it was looking promising for a while. That long gliding closeout. You really do need to have those skis as flat as you possibly can on the snow. Isn't it good to see Alice Robinson slowly but surely stepping up to downhill? She'll be using this race as her prep for tomorrow's Supergiant slalom. But let's go back to the Italian team. Wearing bib 27, Elena Cortoni. 6th and 4th in her 2 Super G races. Yet to go better than 17th. But you've got to watch Cortoni carefully here. These tech turns in the upper part of the challenge will definitely suit the Italian style and technique.
Yeah, Cortoni getting cleaner and cleaner with her skiing. In Val d'Isère showed some much stronger skiing in a better position over her skis. And that's going to allow her to carry more speed from turn to turn. As now she exits the forest, this left-footed turn. Oh, the pressure, the intensity of this turn is enormous.
Yeah, there's some pretty serious G-force on the racer there. 0.43. Again, can she find the speed in the closeout here? She's got a lovely aerodynamic shape and efficient position over the skis. Cortoni goes for the podium. And again, 10th position. Oh. Again, solid in the technical turns. Watch out for Elena in the Super G tomorrow. That snowfall, Britt, becoming a little more persistent on the lower part of the challenge.
Yeah, you can really see it on the camera there starting to... That's going to affect... Not only is the darkness going to affect visibility, but that little bit of snowfall changes how you can see the track.
Now let's take a look at another one of the young rising stars. This is Alison Mollin, 21-year-old from Truckee in California, out of the Palisades Tahoe race team in the USA. Now, quite a few people tipping this young lady for the possible 4th spot for the Olympic squad. So Alison knows more than anybody that a big result today could really help her chances of heading to the Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah, she's really found some consistency in the first 3 rounds. Can she keep that going and just improve on it a little bit here in Altenmark?
Yeah, top 10, top 15, just to catch the eye of the selectors. Alison Mollin, yes, that's what she needed today. 13th position. Yes. No wonder she's celebrating.
mind the triple S's? No, stay tight, come back. Shit though. Yeah. Oh, stayed on the. Yeah, that was what's important.
Well, there's Lindsey Vonn now taking on the coaching responsibility for the Stiefel American team as well. Lovely words. Vonn mentors so many of these young rising stars from the American squad. Here's a rising star from the Swiss team, Brit, Marilee Blanc. She's from just outside of Crans-Montana, and haven't they gone through an awful start to this new year? But the 2024 World Super G Junior champion, and already hitting the top 10 in Super G, top 50 in downhill at just 22 years of age.
Yeah, her skiing is really strong. We saw her step onto the podium last year. She's finding her way a little bit still. This looks much more confident than what we saw in the previous races this season.
Good skiing from Marilee Blanc, 13th position. And that is another solid top 15. Top 10 was her target today to get into that Olympic selection process. And when you've hit the podium once in your young career, your expectation automatically gets so much higher. Let's stay with the Swiss team. Racer 30 is Delia Dürrer. Delia is another racer that's very close to hitting the top flight. Snow continues to thicken and fall a little heavier on the upper part of the challenge. It's also going to slow the racetrack down just a little bit as well. Fresh snow clearly seen on the lower part of the track. I think where the turns are, Britt, we should be okay. It's that long, flat closeout that worries me with the fresh snow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is the forest section here. This is the exit of the forest. This long left-footed turn opens up into the lower part of the track. It still turns here on the bottom part of the track, but you can see how open it is. All the speed you can carry through those final turns and off the finishing jump is what you need to keep that speed up.
Delia Dürrer into 23rd position. You can see having to make the correction there to refine the racing line. Stefan Abnemalp. Okay, let's go to Nicole Delago.
Well, Delago dropping into this waterfall section, it really pulls quick and fast, and it's this panorama turn. This is the key turn. Good second split here for Delago, her sister, already down in the finish. But can she keep it up here? This is where it starts to get a little bit bumpier and I think a little bit darker as the speeds increase on the closeout as she comes into this final section.
0.76 off the pace. These later numbers getting the worst of the weather, more difficult visibility, freshly fallen snow on the lower part of the track. The victory for Vonn here is looking better and better. 18th position for Delago. No shortage of commitment from Nadia whatsoever. Really pushing hard in tough weather conditions right now.
Yeah, and on this shortened course, the times are really stacking in closely. What was Nadia Delago there, 18th, not even a second. Her and Keely Cashman tied for 18th. It's gonna take a really committed run, really that just deciding in your head to go all out and go for it, but not easy in these conditions.
Jasmine Suter. Now let's see if Jasmine again, she's knocking on the Olympic criteria selection door. 16th in downhill, 12th in Super G this season. Big result would really help her.
And again, getting pushed wide and late out of the panorama turn. It's the speed. Panorama turn is key on this track. Also keeping the areas limited here. And for Suter, just not carrying enough speed on the exit through that third split. But now it's just this finishing section. She just needs to hold the shoulders low and that tuck position.
Top 15 Jasmine is looking for, just to get into the consideration. 30th position. Well, it's points on the board. 1 World Cup point for 30th, remember, all the way through to 100 World Cup points for a victory. That's not what Jasmina was hoping for. Again, see the snowfall in the slow-mo replay? Not only making the visibility difficult, but I believe maybe the track a little slower on the closeout. So there is our podium for the day. Congratulations to Lindsey Vonn, a spectacular victory and her 84th World Cup win, her 45th in the discipline of downhill. Kaiser Vickhoff Lee hits the podium for the first time this season. Jackie Wiles hits the podium for the second time here in Zauchensee. But once again, Lindsey Vonn, the oldest skier to win on the World Cup Tour of all time, at 41 years of age, grabs the headlines here in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee, with a spectacular victory on a difficult racetrack today. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Alice Robinson, also Nadine Fest, the Europa Cup downhill champion from last season. Hayley Cutler is somebody that Lindsay has mentored for quite a while. And there's some good skiers all the way to the very end of the race today, including Mary Bocock, another young rising star from the Stiefel American team. Alice Robinson. Now, she's here, they say, to warm up on the racetrack for the Super G tomorrow. But Alice Robinson is going better and better in downhill. 21st position for Robinson. Conditions continue to deteriorate at the top of the track. How far we will take this race, it'll be interesting to see as the snowstorm gathers pace. But there's no shortage of pace here from Alice Robinson. Britt, I've loved following this story from a giant slalom World Cup winner, now winning in Super G. How long before she climbs on the podium in downhill, would you say?
Well, I think she just needs to continue to gain experience on the downhill tracks. I love that she is running and racing the downhill here today. She's had a couple of DNFs if you've been following the Giant Slalom Tour, and she's skied out in Giant Slalom. She can turn her focus now to downhill and Super G, and this is only going to help her Giant Slalom performance in the coming weeks.
Well, I'm sure she's got her eyes on the Big Crystal, the overall tour title. It's the most respected of all the awards. She lies third in the overall standings. And there's points on the board again for the Kiwi kid, Alice Robinson. That will set her up no end. Now we're going to shorten the start intervals, get them out on course and down the track as quick as we possibly can before this racetrack gets closed due to these weather conditions. Out on course is Emily Schopf for the Austrian team, 25 years of age, only her 11th World Cup start. She's picked up World Cup points a couple of seasons ago in Switzerland, but and of course, Britt, a lot of the young racers that we're about to sort of focus on and watch carefully, they've got experience on this race piece because it's a regular stop on the Europa Cup Tour, the B circuit, where many of the youngsters are prepared for World Cup competition.
Yeah, that really does help. That Europa Cup circuit, they run some of these World Cup tracks, but Zauchensee here is a regular stop on the Europa Cup Tour. And to have that, if you think that we've only had one training run on this track, if you have some experience from previous seasons, that really can help set you up for a better race run.
So, top 30 is the target for Emily Schopf, looking for her first points of the 2026 Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour, and she will be happy with that 26th position. Left of your screen there, Christian Scherer, the CEO of the Austrian Ski Federation.
Und damit kommen wir jetzt zur Weltcup-Premiere für die Lecherin, für Leonie.
Now here's a young lady at 21 years of age making her World Cup debut here today, Leonie Zeg. Britt, tell us what it was like when you made your World Cup debut.
Well, that was just a couple of years ago, but I do remember it was in Lake Louise, and I had run NORAM races there, so that gave me the confidence to step onto the World Cup. So I'm sure the same for Leonie. Has raced Europa Cups, she knows this track, and it's such, well, it's an accomplishment, a huge accomplishment. You finish, I guarantee she'll cross the line, and she will have that feeling that she wants to go back up and do it again.
Yes, she will not forget this day for the rest of her life. Leonie Zeg makes that big step up from Europa Cup to World Cup, flying the flag for Austria, looking very skillful and accomplished, I have to say. Leonie Zeg, 1.39 World Cup points on your World Cup debut. That is a sensational start. And look at the smile on this young lady's face. Brilliant skiing from Zeg. Doesn't hit the panic button when it goes slightly wrong. A big line error. And look at that. Coaches and fans from top to bottom of the racetrack, all with a nod of their head. That was impressive. Stephanie Grob for the Swiss team. Now, Stephanie looking for her first breakthrough. Britt, here's another one to run by you. A highly successful junior racer. Numerous World Junior Championship gold medals in downhill, in giant slalom, but hasn't quite made that transition to the senior ranks just yet.
No, she hasn't yet. I can guarantee that it's coming because she has that experience. She has those results at the junior level. It's just going to be a matter of time. You can see it's the confidence that isn't quite there at this level, at the top level.
Yes, she misses the points again, Steffi Grob. It's one that we'll follow. It's one that we'll keep an eye on. But an amazing, I think it's 6 World Junior Championship medals that she's got against her name. So impressive. This is Julia Pleshkova, 28-year-old independent athlete. Good to have her back on tour. 46th World Cup start for Julia here today.
A little bit wide on the exit of the panorama turn, and for these later starters, it really is. It's about getting into that top 30, but their focus on track is about their skiing, staying on that outside ski, taking speed where they need to, and taking what they saw in inspection, marking their line on the entrance to these double turns and on the exit.
Ooh, I'm looking at the visibility now, and it's getting close to the question mark. It would be so good if we could get right to the end of bib 57. The race will still stand if Peter Girdle has to cancel. Look how dark it's now looking in the finish area. Snowstorm is really starting to gather some pace here. Still one or two races that we're hoping to get a glimpse of. Heavy snowfall on the upper part of the track. Dark conditions on the lower. Here's the family of Nadine Fest. Skier that we watch carefully. Nadine, of course, the Europa Cup downhill champion of last season. She's won 3 times on this track in Europa Cup competition. So the Austrian squad have high hopes for Nadine here today.
Well, through these turns on the exit of the forest, it was clean coming out of the panorama turn, but there just has to adjust her line ever so slightly. But on this last split, she's under a second off the pace. This is good.
Now, this is excellent from Nadine Fest and what we were hoping for. I don't think we're going to see the podium positions change now, but there's still points to be taken out of this race from the young guns. And Nadine Fest, 22nd position. That's a PB for the season. Her dad there can hardly watch. Great pictures from director Mickey Kugler. And that Europa Cup experience paying dividends for Nadine Fest. Look at the snow now. You really do have to have self-belief and confidence taking off that final jump. Mom's happy too. Now, this is the lady that was runner-up to Nadine Fest in those Europa Cup downhill standings of last season, Carmen Spielberger. 23 years of age, only her 6th World Cup start here today. But again, Carmen with a lot of experience on this racetrack from that B Tour, looking to turn that into World Cup points here today. Look at the speed through the gun. Oh, this could be a massive breakthrough. Carmen Spielberger of the Austrian team. The fans haven't had a lot to cheer about, but they can see they've got some young stars in the making. Spielberger, 25th position, 7 World Cup points. That is a solid ski.
Oh, and it's always so exciting to do it in front of the home crowd. They've been waiting at the start. They had the hold. Their teammate, it was Egger, who crashed earlier in the race. And now these young Austrians are putting their experience on this track to good work.
Well, of course, it's the national sport here in Austria. The expectation of their young athletes is so high. The Austrian fans desperate to find their equivalent of Lindsey Vonn. As we go to Norway, this is Iniholm Vemstad. Another relative newcomer to the World Cup Tour in only her 8th start here today.
Well, and it's Kajal Vikhoff-Lee in that podium spot. She skied so beautifully and is getting more and more confident as we get closer to the Olympic Games. And I'm sure she will have given a good report up to her teammate that's now charging down the closeout of this track.
Vemstad looking for her first World Cup point score here. Oh, yeah, she'll take that. 1.29. Just 1.29 seconds off the pace of Lindsey Vonn. 25th position. That is a huge PB for Vemstad.
Yeah, an excellent ski from the Norwegian. Good confident turns through the middle part of the track. Really nice.
Now a chance for Italy to show off some of their young rising stars. This is Sara Thaler, 21 years of age, 17th World Cup start, looking for her first points of the season. But another racer that's got a lot of miles on the track here from her Europa Cup racing.
Through that panorama turn in the second split, she gets pushed a little bit wide there, but nice and smooth with that transition to pick up the new turn. And now as she exits the forest, this last split here is where we're going to see if she has the speed to carry through into the finish.
Oh, point at 3. This is looking good for another youngster and outsider to claim World Cup points, potentially her first of the season. This is a good ski from Sara Thaler, and she goes into 22nd position.
Wow. She got a big flight on that opening jump and, as we say, rolls down the windows a little bit, but she keeps it under control and sticks with the game plan. That's an impressive ski.
Yeah, these later numbers are doing well here. Lena Wegner, she's already scored a 20th position on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup in her season opener in St. Moritz back on the 12th of December. Now, for this 25-year-old, in only her second full season on tour. She missed the 25 tour through injury. She's coming back from injury and gaining confidence with every race.
She's keeping the ski clean. There's a subtle hesitation from Weckner, but I'm sure that's just because of the conditions. As you said, she's coming back from an injury. She's rebuilding that confidence, but it's good to see her on the closeout here, tucking through this final jump.
Yeah, this is brave skiing from these later start numbers. The visibility continues to deteriorate. Weckner just misses the points, 33rd, 1.57 off the pace. Now, this is Haley Cutler from the USA. She's out of Sun Valley in Idaho and the Montana State University. Works very closely. She's been mentored by LV Lindsey Vonn throughout her career. Top 20 result, and all of a sudden she enters into the Olympic qualification conversation. Again, she's a self-funded skier, pays her own way, and often finds herself checking in with her coaches back in Sun Valley. Good skiing again there. The young Americans really being given that extra bit of confidence by LV Lindsey Vonn's performance. Well, these conditions on the lower section, Britt, very difficult.
Yeah, you can see the visibility's change. She's having trouble to just keep that compact position and trust what's under her feet.
40th position for Haley Cutler, worst of the weather. No luck at all for these later start numbers, the lower ranked racers. The higher your rank, of course, the earlier your start number until you go into the draw of the top flight. Now here's a lady battling her way back from injury and trying to get back to her top performances. She's got 5 World Cup podiums against her name in her 160th World Cup start. This is Jonah Halin for the Swiss team.
Exiting now the forest section, strong on this left turn. As we are running this shortened track, it's so important to stay clean. And as we can see right now at the bottom, you can really see the weather coming in. It makes it so much harder to keep that ski clean and to keep it error-free.
I'm just getting a little worried that we now need to take a serious weather check here. Halin just misses the points, 32nd position. You can see how difficult the visibility is becoming with the snowfall off the Zauchensee Zielsprung. Oh, that is Robbie Trenkwalder, the long-time coach and athlete special program supporter of Lindsey Vonn. They've been buddies for over 35 years. Let's go to Elvedina Muzaferia from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ho, look at this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks like a green light at Sector 1.
Well, here she enters the panorama turn. She's only off by 0.21. Now the times are stacked in really close, so it's important that these first opening splits, she's right on the mark and skiing clean on the exit here through the forest.
Now let me take you back to the 2024 Audi FIS Ski World Cup season. This lady picked up a 4th position. So back form says she has the ability to mix it with the big names. But in the worst of the weather conditions, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Elvedina are skiing fearlessly. This could be top 20 for Elvedina Muzaferia. And what a brilliant ski. Oh, that is cruel. So cruel. 31st position with a sensational green light at Sector 1.
Wow, a shame at the bottom. She skied the top part so well. That's a tough finish.
Camille Chiruti for the French team. Now, Camille, again, we'll watch very carefully because she's picked up a 5th position in the Val d'Isère Supergiant Slalom on the 21st of December. And once you've cracked the top 10, you can see her body language, everything about the way she arcs those turning skis is a different name of the game. This is Cerruti. Brit, for me, looking like a new skier, and a very confident one at that.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Where there once was a bit of hesitation and some question marks, now she has that belief. She knows that she can be in there with the top flight.
Now the track is going to slow down with the fresh snow on the lower section, but this is another solid performance from Cerruti. 21st position, points on the board. And I'm absolutely delighted to see the French racer pick up her second downhill point score of the season.
Oh, and you can really see it here in the middle part of the section. The snow is falling and it's getting tougher and tougher to see the track. That's a great ski, just over a second off the pace for the French skier.
That's Michael Walkhofer there, former Austrian downhill champion and one of the chief organizers of the race. He has a beautiful hotel just down the road from the finish area here. Let's go to the young rising star from the French team, Garance Meyer. She's the bronze medalist from the World Juniors of 2025 in Tarvisio, Italy. Only her third World Cup start here today, Brit. Slightly daunting conditions for the youngsters as we get to the end of this race.
Yeah, it really is not easy to be one of these later starters. It's you're early in your World Cup career, and she can just take some confidence that she's completed this track. She's charging her way down this race course here in Zauchensee.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see the youngster just err on the side of caution. Don't risk too much. And skiing into 41st position, Garance Meyer for the French team. Well, they're all posing for photos. That's the Red Bull Athlete Special Program team. Good to see Thomas Uberol at the head of that photograph. Vicky Bernardi for the Italian team. Bernardi looking for her first points of the season. She brings a World Cup PB of 18th to today's race. Oh, I wouldn't want to be racing out there today. This snowstorm is really making life difficult from a visibility perspective. It's slowing things down in the closeout as well. Very tough indeed for these last few skiers.
It really is. You can see the weather has changed quite a bit. And if you were just free skiing your slower turns down the side of the track, you would have a hard time seeing it. And these ladies charging at over 100 kilometers per hour through this snowstorm. Yeah,
brave. Very brave from Bernardi. 43rd position, 2.01. I think if this were the beginning of the race, we would question whether we should take a cancellation. Congratulations to Peter Gerdel, Alberto Senegalese from the International Ski and Snowboard Federation in pulling off this race that was in doubt from early this morning. Fabiana Dorigo out of the TSV Munich, same ski club as Lina Strasser. Last chance for Germany to get into the shake-up here today. Emma Eicher, best of the German racers, holding 6th position. Dorigo, interesting to see her with the downhill skis on here. Britta, I've got her down as 23rd position in the giant slalom in Mont Tremblant. Ooh, and that lack of downhill experience showing there.
Yeah, she is. She's been showing some really good form on the giant slalom tour, so perhaps just trying to gain some experience here on the World Cup level, but not easy conditions, and she just snuck past that gate up above.
Off the Zauchensee Zielsprung, Dorigo for Germany. Good to see her safely in the finish area, taking 46th position. 8 races left to go. Von has won this, there is no question. Lindsay's had the best of the weather and skied the fastest of all the racers here today. Yet another monumental performance. Let's go to Tricia Mangan out of Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. Tricia scored points in 2 of her Super G races so far this season. And look at that for a Sector 1 split time. Again, superb commitment, just 0.21 off the pace of our leader, Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, exits the panorama turn and through that second split. Again, she's skiing really well. I think the skiing isn't quite reflecting where her interval showing 1.32 off the pace. The times are really close at the bottom due to this shortened downhill track here. And it's because of the weather, and that weather is coming in a little bit stronger here at the end of this race run.
Trisha Mangan in what has been a sensational day for the Stiefel American team, with Vonn taking the victory, Jackie Wiles, excuse me, in third position, Breezy Johnson in seventh, 3 American racers in the top 10. Let's take a look at the Andorran skier, Jordina Caminal-Santur, 22 years of age, making her World Cup downhill debut here today, picking her up now in the upper part of the track. Now, I saw her in the World Championship sprint in Saalbach last season, 30th in the Super G, 26th in the downhill. This young lady has got a little bit of experience against her name as she makes her way through, or makes her step up, I should say, to the World Cup for the very first time in her career.
Yeah, and this is a good strong ski from the Andorran. You can see the way she's trying to continue to drive through the front of the ski, keep that ski running clean and smooth through the whole length of these downhill turns.
Good to see this lady on the World Cup tour. Jordina Caminal-Santur goes into 49th position. Tough conditions for your World Cup debut, and a brave ski from the Andorran racer. Last chance for the Italians to create a potential upset here is Sarah Alamond. 25 years of age, in her 5th World Cup start here today. Points on the board for Sarah in the last stop of the Super G Tour. Perhaps Alamond just using this race today as a warm-up for tomorrow's Super G. She was 26th in Val d'Isère just before the Christmas break.
And they're just having a little bit of trouble at the entrance there to that double, has to hesitate ever so slightly, and I guarantee that's just due to the visibility that she's having to manage here on this racetrack.
Yeah, the Kalber Loch is looking a little tougher now than it was at the start of proceedings earlier today. We just need to get to bib 57 and book this race and book it into the history and record books. Good to see 2 Andorran athletes. We are familiar with Candy Moreno, 25-year-old in her 38th World Cup start here. She's out of the famous Spanish club La Molina, where so many of the top Spanish and Andorran racers herald from. Picked up her first point of the season in the opening Super G of the Tour in St. Moritz, Switzerland, 28th there. And of course, Candy Moreno with her eyes on a start for Andorra in the Olympic Games. Oh, this is really tricky on the lower section now.
It really is. Having to find more speed. It's so brave to have to ski in these conditions, and especially when they've been waiting around most of the morning.
50th position for Candy Moreno of Andorra, 3.10. Good to see 2 Andorrans on the finish sheet here today. Here's another interesting racer on the downhill start list for today. Clara Diray. She's from Notre-Dame-de-Bellecombe and a customs officer out of Les Saisies. That's her club. Giant slalom form is impressive, including a top 5 result in Mont Tremblant. But here we go again with the French team skiers putting on the long skis, Britt.
Yeah, it's not easy to go from those giant slalom skis. Her confidence is clearly in those technical events. But she's building some confidence here and experience on the longer downhill skis. This is good prep work for the Super G coming up tomorrow.
Quite a baptism of fire for Direz. She's a World Cup winner on tour. I'm really delighted to see her in these difficult conditions step up to downhill. Shakes the head. Not quite sure how much she enjoyed that, to be honest. But an exhilarating and courageous performance from the French racer. Now, Greta Small of Australia carries bib 55. I've got form from Greta on my commentary card here, taking us back to the Olympic Games of 2018. And that's what Greta needs to draw upon now as she hopes to go to her 3rd Winter Olympic Games in Milan Cortina next month.
Yeah, just adjust the line ever so slightly as she exits the forest section. Those tighter turns. It really is quite a challenging high-speed track, especially when you run it right from the top. But today, that shortened track, and now the weather coming in. Greta Small really doing well with the challenge that's put in front of her here.
Yeah, brave skiing from the Aussie, and does well to safely make her way to the finish area. As we've been saying throughout this live broadcast here on FIS TV, the conditions have got progressively worse for the later skiers. There are just 2 to go. Very interested to watch this young lady, Mary Bocock, the older of the Bocock sisters on the Stiefel American team. She's very close to her younger sister. Mary warming up for the Super G here, I presume, but she's a very, very talented racer.
Yeah, and then we're getting a good look at just how well she is on her skis through the turns. These are good, clean turns here, and just that track getting a little bit rougher. The snow will start to build up on the outside of the racing line, so if she gets pushed a little bit late and low, she will pick up that extra snow on the track. So this is, again, really courageous from this higher start number for Mary Bocock.
Yeah, 16th World Cup start. She grew up in Snowbird, Utah, USA. And I think that will set her up quite nicely for tomorrow's Super G, where she'll be aiming for her 2nd World Cup point score of the season. Well skied, Mary. And our last racer carrying bib 57 is Anya Monica Kyle from Romania. She was born in France, but switched due to her dual nationality with her Romanian mother to race for Romania back in 2012. Again, a skier with a lot of miles. She was representing Romania at the 2014 and the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. She's 30 years of age, 59th World Cup start here today.
Well, she's made it through the challenge of those turns in the middle part of the track, and now through this lower part. Again, we can really see how much the snow is falling, how much the conditions have changed.
Anya Monica Kyle, 54th position, safely into the finish area. And what a fantastic race this has been. Well, it may have been a shortened racetrack on the Kalbalok piste, but it's still been a very interesting competition indeed. And of course, that is the nature of the game when it comes to winter sport and World Cup ski racing. Mother Nature often calls the tune. We had to lower the start gate because we'd only had one practice run from that lowered start, and it still gave us a fascinating race. And when everybody thought that Lindsey Vonn's podium streak was over after finishing 50th in the practice session 48 hours ago, well, Lindsey Vonn proves her doubters wrong again, recording her 84th World Cup win and the 45th downhill victory of her career. Quite remarkable. I'm delighted for Kaiser Vickhoff Lee to grab a place on the podium, and Jackie Wiles for the USA in third position. Lindsey Vonn is our winner of downhill 4 of 9 on the Audi FIS Ski World Cup for 2026 in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee. Kaiser Vickhoff Lee takes runner-up position. Jackie Wiles, her second podium here in Zauchensee, third today. Well, Pirovano so close to the podium again, settles for fourth. Huge PB for Janine Schmidt in fifth. Emma Eicher the best for Germany. Breezy Johnson gives the USA 3 in the top 8. Another PB for Alison Mollin for the American team in 14th position. Little disappointing for the Goggia fans. Sophia down in 17th position. And on her World Cup debut, Leonie Zeg of Austria takes 30th position and her first World Cup point of her career.
Jetzt schon der Hinweis für heute Abend, 19 Uhr, Sieger am Marktplatz von Altenmarkt und anschließend dann die Stadtverwaltung für den Nordic Combined.
Lindsey, congratulations. That was amazing to watch. 4 podiums in 4 races this season. Did you expect such a strong start?
I mean, honestly, not in downhill. I felt like I was skiing better in Super G this summer. But when I got to the races, in St. Moritz, everything was working really well right from the start. So I'm just trying to keep the confidence going and keep that good skiing going. I mean, I knew what it was going to take to win today. It's a sprint, and I had to give it everything I had. Definitely had to risk a little bit in the line, and I think it paid off.
Well, you did, for sure, risk everything. I mean, in the beginning you were a bit behind, but then you made up some time. How come you did that?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a really good glider. So and I figured I wasn't going to be great at the top, but, where I excel are the turns. And I knew, with all the new snow, the outside track was going to be slow. So I tried to stay on the inside track on the more direct line, which I think was definitely more risky. But I didn't risk so much that I felt like I was on the limit. I risked enough to win, and I think, that's what it took today to win.
And considering the cancelled training and the fact that they had to change the starting house, how did that impact your skiing?
Well, actually, I did the sprint downhill here from the same start, but that was 2 downhill runs. So, so I'm probably one of the few people that's run downhill from that start. And the downhill training run was tough. It wasn't fast. I was really slow. It was like almost last because it was so windy. So I really had no reference point except for using my past experience, and I think that's what really helped a lot was was knowing where to go and where to push.
Well, it for sure worked. Congratulations and enjoy your win.
Thank you so much.
Well, that past experience, this is why the story is quite remarkable. She won 10 years ago the downhill here in 2016, 15 years ago in 2011. And here we are in 2026. Lindsey Vonn has done it again as part of her comeback at 41 years of age. The fans in the crowd just loving the fact. And what a great interview there where Vonn told us that she had a race plan. The execution was to keep the line tight, to stay on the inside track of that racing line, to deliver a brilliant victory for the American team, to deliver her 45th World Cup downhill win and the 84th of her career. And of course, all that does is boost her lead in the downhill tour standing. She's now 129 clear of Emma Eike. Pirovano is in third position for Italy, and the United States of America stay on top of the Nations Cup. Vonn leads the downhill, Schifrin leads the overall, the USA at the top of the Women's Nations Cup. Now, I want to have another look at this, and I'm sure you do. Britt, let's talk in detail here. Okay, best of the visibility, the piece that had all the fresh snow brushed off it, but she said it herself. She felt she could have risked a little bit more. I don't think she should risk any more, because when she finds that inside line, this smooth, clean, error-free style that she's brought as part of her comeback, to me, is sometimes better than her daredevil approach of those years gone by.
I would completely agree. She's found that balance of risking just enough, but keeping it in that comfortable place where she knows exactly how she can execute it. What I loved is her intensity that she had. She's run this shortened track before. I've run this track before. I know how much of a sprint it is, and she kept the intensity of her run, of her turns up the whole way down. And for me, well, the only one that came close was Kajov Lee, but it was the speed that Lindsey was able to take on the closeout here that kept her out in front.
I think you've captured the words absolutely perfectly. The intensity that Vonn brings to the mountain today delivers her second win of the season. She draws comfortably clear in the downhill rankings, looking to take the Crystal Globe in this discipline for the 9th time in her career. A sensational victory. My next question, Britt, will we see a double here in Zauchensee from Vonn? Because she said it in her interview, she thought her Super G was better than her downhill before we kick-started this new tour.
Yeah, and when she goes back and looks at her video of how she skied the middle part, the turns, when we run the Super G here tomorrow, it won't be set all too differently because it needs to follow the rhythm and the flow of the slope. She's going to take a huge amount of confidence from her skiing here today and take that into tomorrow. I wouldn't put it past her to do the double here, but we get to wait and watch and find out.
Well, she did the double when she last won in 2016. 10 years ago, she won the downhill ahead of Larissa Yurkiw and Connie Hutter. And then she did it again in the Super G ahead of Laura Gut, and Connie Hutter did a double podium as well. I think that now Lindsey Vonn has won on a shortened racetrack. The confidence is at an all-time high. Is it fair to say, Britt, that Axel Lund Svindal is her secret weapon?
I think we're seeing the conversations that they're having together. I loved that I got to run into them in Val d'Isère. He seems excited. He was loving the way that he could contribute to what she's doing on her skis, and I think that's why we're seeing such great execution on her race runs.
A lot of people are saying that Lindsey Vonn will head into the coaching world after she's finally done with her ski career. How long that's going to go on for is another story in its own right. She takes so much pride, attention to detail and care over the other female racers in the American team. Do you think she will start doing what Axel is doing herself when it finally comes to an end?
Well, she just might do so. You can see the Americans, they have great finishes here today, and she really is mentoring them. She's sharing the information that she has and coaching the others even while she's there racing against them.
Yeah, congratulations to PK, Paul Christofovich, the head coach for the American women's team. 3 in the top 8. Nice one, Paul. That's a very good day in the office. Let's move on to the official prize giving.
Auf dem dritten Rang in third place für Amerika, representing United States of America, Jackie Wiles.
Jackie Wiles, her second podium here in Zauchensee, but perhaps more importantly, her first podium in an Olympic season. And all of a sudden, today's result may well have booked her a place in the American team at the Olympic Games in Cortina next month. Well, for those of you that doubted Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee, eat your words now. 19, 18, 14, second to Lindsey Vonn. She was unlucky not to win this race. Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee is back for Norway.
Winner, women's downhill champion Alpine Zauchensee 2026 für Amerika, representing the United States of America, Lindsey Vonn.
10 years after she last won here, 15 years after her very first victory in Zauchensee, the 41-year-old sporting sensation Lindsey Vonn wins again in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee. It is a spectacular victory. It is the 84th win of her career. It is her 45th in downhill. And today she has done it in style. It was a sprint downhill. The weather was working against us, but Lindsey Vonn has put on one hell of a show to win this downhill race here today.
Geschäftsführerin der Liftgesellschaft Zauchensee, Platz Nummer 3.
President of the Organizing Committee and Managing Director of the Zauchensee Cable Car Company.
Veronika Schäfer für die drittplatzierte Jackie Wiles.
Veronika Schäfer from the Cable Car Company here in Altenmarkt, Zauchensee presents the third place trophy to Jacqueline Wiles. What a day for Jackie. My goodness. Here's the Mayor of Altenmarkt presenting the second prize award to Kaiser Vickhoff-Lee. 27-year-old Norwegian, struggling a little with her early season form. Bang on target today, chasing Vonn all the way to the podium and a brilliant second position.
Des ersten Preises, der Präsident des Salzburger Skiverbandes.
He has got the honor to present the trophy to the winner, the President of the Salzburg Ski Association.
Bartel Gensbichler mit der Siegertrophy für die einzigartige, die Icon, die Legende, Lindsey Vonn.
So the reason for the comeback, a potential second gold medal in Milan Cortina. She was the Olympic downhill champion in Vancouver in 2010. Skiing like this, she may well be the Olympic downhill champion in 2026. She's hitting peak form just at the right time. That Olympic downhill in Cortina scheduled for Sunday, the 8th of February. And Vonn, in this kind of the form, could be unstoppable. We'll stand in celebration with the American national anthem for Lindsey Vonn's victory in Austria today. Well, congratulations to Lindsey Vonn. There's a chance of a repeat performance of her double from 2016 with a supergiant slalom race on the famous Kalberloch race piste here in Zauchensee. The traditional champagne celebration. What a great race. In a day that Vonn thought all the odds were stacked against her with this shortened racetrack and lowered starting gate. And how different that story unfolded. Pushing the line and chasing all the way home. And Vonn wins for the second time this season.
The next big thing from you, big hand to you, everybody, by the way. So
well, Super G here tomorrow, and Lindsey Vonn, I have to say, will start as the big favourite. And of course, it's no surprise to see Lindsey Vonn skis at the head of the Constructors' Championship, head comfortably ahead of the Atomic team, not only in the Women's Championship, but also in the overall Constructors' Championship. Comfortably clear with a 1-2 for the head ski team in the women's downhill today. Britt, a last comment from you on Vonn's performance and tomorrow's Super G?
Well, I'm somewhat speechless, I must say, about Lindsey's performance here today, but not surprised at the same time and excited to see what's coming tomorrow in the Super G.
And both Britt and I will be with you live here on FIS TV for that supergiant slalom on the Kalberloch race piste here in Zauchensee. It brings us to the end of our broadcast. What has been a wonderful day of downhill racing, and congratulations, of course, not only to those podium performers, but to the local organising committee putting on a fantastic race, a fantastic show. Lindsey Vonn takes round 4 of 9 on the downhill tour for the Audi FIS Ski World Cup Tour ahead of Kaiser Vickhoff Lee and Jackie Wiles, putting 2 Americans on the podium. On behalf of the FIS TV team, Britt Yannick and myself, Nick Fellows, many thanks for your company. Until tomorrow morning, it's goodbye for now.
Also sehr, sehr gute Teamarbeit da beim amerikanischen Team. Lindsey hat gute Tipps weitergegeben und Jackie hat diese Tipps aber auch eiskalt ausnützen können. Und Gratulation natürlich auch in Richtung zu dir, Kaiser. Gestern möglicherweise beim Kartenspiel verloren, heute dafür den 2. Platz gewonnen.
Kartenspielen gewonnen oder hier gewinnen, das ist gleich geblieben.
Let's talk a bit in English. Second place, only beaten by a super strong Lindsey Vonn. How does this second place smell for you? Because the first races this season were not that strong.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Christmas food or I don't know. I always come back strong in January, and it's so nice to be here and get in a good race. But Lindsey is so fast. Good to have her back, but she could be a little bit slower.
All the best, fingers crossed for tomorrow's Super G. Lindsey, wir haben noch eine kleine Überraschung, weil es gibt ja von unseren Instagram-Fans auch immer die Wahl zur Athletin des Tages. Du bist ein großer Formel-1-Fan. Jetzt haben wir uns gedacht, machen wir das auch im Skisport, blicken auf die Videoleinwand. End of the day, 33% für Lindsey, 14% für Conny und 8% für Emma Eichler. Also auch das souverän gewonnen. Heute Mamenssiegerehrung in Altenmarkt wird ein wenig gefeiert oder volle Konzentration auf morgen?
Ja, wohl erst morgen, aber vielleicht meine Freundin kann ein bisschen feiern.
Die werden ein bisschen feiern. Gratulation dir und damit mal rauf zu dir, Didi. Eine strahlende Lindsay, eine überglückliche Kaiser und eine sehr, sehr stolze Drittplatzierte heute hier also am Podium in Zauchensee.
Ja, danke Stevie. Ich habe immer noch meine Sonnenbrillen auf, weil ich einfach geblendet bin und geflasht bin von dieser Leistungssportlerin von 45. Absatz in ihrer Karriere. Rosie Hoffmann,
Oh my God, okay.
unglaublich angerührt. Jetzt haben wir noch einen dritten